We just broke down the Falcons' loss to the Vikings. Now let's get into the meat and the potatoes. What everybody wants to know is it finally Michael Penix time? And of course, we kind of gave a glimpse into what Raheem Morris said. He was like, Kirk Cousins is still our quarterback. He defended Kirk Cousins, mentioned the 300 yards, talked about how other pieces did not live up to their expectations to help him get this win in Minnesota. It was a bunch of hoopla. It was a bunch of bull crap. Let's just call a spade, guys. We're now 6-7. We're on the outside looking in. And we're going to need the Bucs to slip up, and we're going to need to be perfect down the stretch just to make a playoff spot, which we've already said, does it even really matter? Because this team clearly is not going anywhere in the playoffs. They just played a playoff team, and they got beat by 21 when they had 500 yards of offense. Imagine if their offense isn't humming like that. They might get beat by 64. Who knows? The point is this team's not going anywhere. Kirk Cousins has not been good. If the bar for quarterback play in Atlanta is 300 yards and 2 interceptions and no touchdowns, I think Michael Penix can give you that if that's the bar. But the reality of the situation is Michael Penix is the savior. He's the only reason Raheem Morris is going to be able to keep his job more than a couple of years. So even as much as fans want to see Michael Penix, right, shouldn't Raheem Morris be most focused on making sure Michael Penix is ready for next season, which feels inevitable that he will be the starter, and giving him as many reps as possible? Because I said, if he goes out there and sucks next year and you didn't give him all these extra reps, the days are numbered for Raheem Morris. I don't think he makes it to a year 3.
See, I think he's really, he's in an unfireable state because you hold Pennix on the bench for too long. You go blank. We have more. We need more. He needs more time. And if you put him in, you're gonna say, well, this was always a part. Like Raheem Morris was. We talked about it when it happened. You said it, and I was like, that's kind of true. Although it seemed crazy on the outside for signing Cousins and then drafting Pennix, it effectively expanded Raheem Morris's window more than any other coach. Like Arthur Smith's window in terms of being fired or not was much smaller than Raheem Morris's right now. Like he is effectively guaranteed, I'd say, at least 3 seasons, even though he doesn't deserve it, because one, you're going to go through all of this with Kirk Cousins, and then you're going to go all of this again with Michael Penix, assuming there will be rookie struggles, and then you go see one more season, one more. I thought he just needs more time. He's playing this like a genius. To the actual decision, it's hard. It's incredibly difficult. You have to admit you were wrong, $180 million wrong. But it's the necessary decision. This has nothing to do. I saw Zeno say it. I've seen a lot of people say, a lot of smart people say that Michael Penix isn't going to, give this offense something that Kirk Cousins hasn't. Well, first of all, physically, that's just false. Secondly, you might be right. From a decision-making standpoint, how could you argue a veteran is going to make the same mistakes as a rookie? I know some people are going to make fun of like, well, those picks against the Chargers. You're right. Those picks against the Chargers, I'm sure Michael Penix wouldn't even do that. But this is not a decision about today. This is not a decision to salvage the 2024 season. This is a decision that you admit you were wrong about Kirk Cousins and you want to your priority is to get Michael Penix up to speed as soon as possible to start competing on that rookie contract. That's the goal. The goal is to get Michael Penix to a position where you can compete for Super Bowls while he's on that rookie contract. That's the goal. And if that's the goal, you should try and start it as soon as it's viable. It is viable. We are a game under 500. The Bucs are a game over 500. That means if the Bucs win the rest of their games, even if the Falcons do win the rest of their games, it doesn't matter. We're out. We are out of the playoffs unless we somehow squeak in by the wild card, which is not a good chance. So you're telling me this season we could miss the playoffs while Michael Penix could be learning. It's not about winning today. It's about accelerating his development so that we can win sooner in the future, or at least seriously compete. Because you're a fool. You either don't know football or you're a fool or you're drinking whatever Falcons Kool-Aid they're selling. If you think Kirk Cousins can even get this team to the playoffs, let alone beat a team like the Packers or the Vikings or whoever loses out west in the NFC West, or whoever wins in the NFC West, excuse me, and when we host them in a playoff game. We're not going to beat those teams. We can't beat those teams. They're so much further ahead than us. Coaching, talent-wise, everything. Quarterback-wise, there's not a quarterback in the playoff picture that I would take Kirk Cousins over right now. It's a simple fact. We're not making the decision for today to win in 2024. The decision is to accelerate the future.
Yeah, listen, I don't know what the Falcons' thought process is with Kirk Cousins, because there just isn't anything there. They're frankly, he looks slower. His decision making is off. You can sit here and say, I mean, the only thing I can think of is they're like, oh, he'll be better next year. And that is what is really scary, because like they maybe are making excuses like, oh, the injury, he'll get better, he'll get more acclimated with the offense, yada, yada. Because I don't see any other reason possible why they would not just turn to Michael Penix right now. And I think that's the scariest problem. And what does that tell you about Michael Penix? For all the crap that you want to sit here and hear about, oh, he's doing great in practice.
That's what I was about to say.
For all, if you can't look at what Kirk Cousins is providing right now and realize already that next year is about Michael Penix, what does that tell you about Michael Penix? It's not a good sign.
Sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it is not a good. I mean, you're talking about the guy who leads the league in turnovers, who has absolutely no arm strength, is bringing quite literally nothing positive to the table from the quarterback position, and he's not getting any younger. He is not getting any younger. There is no reason to believe he's going to be better next year than he was this year. There's actually a lot more reason to believe he will be worse next year than he was this year. And if you haven't already seen enough to know Michael Penix is the guy next year, I'm worried even more about Michael Penix.
I think that this is the quintessential Falcons, scenario going on, where multiple credible reporters, like I think Diana Rossini, Dan Graziano, like respected names, have said Michael Penix is lighting it up in practice. So if that's true, and we see Kirk Cousins struggling, then why hasn't the decision been made? Reality is Falcons are peddling some absolute bull crap about Penix slinging it in practice, and they've seen Cousins throw 10,000 balls in the offseason, and they go, shoot, Cousins really is our best bet. That's the more plausible scenario, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the same crap where they're peddling one thing, that they have a communist grip on the Falcons media, so everyone's afraid to ask difficult questions, and we're just left here with the same old crap, losing.
And it seems like everything is built more around saving each other's jobs than actually competing for championships or trying to get to the next level. Like, rather fall on our face.
We said
8 straight years.
I said this 3 weeks ago, I think, or 2 weeks ago, that blank is he's more concerned with just being average / winning a terrible division and making the postseason than he is seriously about competing. He cares more about not being bad than he does being great.
Well, and that's what we said when we initially did the Kirk Cousins signing and then drafted Michael Penix. I mean, it was the ultra, we can be good for a long period, but it's going to hinder us from ever reaching the tippy top, because you don't maximize the free agency or the first round pick with Kirk Cousins, and you don't maximize the rookie contract with Michael Penix, but you got more of a chance to be average for longer and not irrelevant like the Falcons have been the last 6 years. Turns out you might get both anyways. And that's a scary thought for Falcons fans, but nobody deserves more blame than Arthur Blanchard, Raheem Morris, and Terry Fontenot.